everybody. Excuse me. Welcome to another edition of Tell It Like It Is. I call it as I see it, and I let you guys know all about it. And as always, this podcast, as well as others in the Jazzy Groove Rainy Day podcast family, are brought to you by the Power of Five. If you appreciate what we do, show your love and support, and pay it forward. And with that being said, let's get down to business. Today's show was going to be the trouble with marriage, but I was going through some archives of some videos that I have in YouTube videos. And shout out to Cooley and the No Fugazi podcast family. I came across one of his videos, and I thought this one passage that he has is worth commenting on. So let's get into it. And as always, I'm going to chop it up and talk to you guys, break it down, let you know how I feel about things. And in the comments below, you can let me know how you feel. And we'll get an effective conversation going. So without any further ado, here we go.
Get some more questions. So you had your question. You got a question?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you wrote something down?
Yeah. It's all messed up. I wanted to know, why does a man. Okay, so women can go through trauma and, well, I could say some women, and then move on to the next person and not bring the trauma. But men, sometimes when they go through like a real bad situation, they tend to carry that with them with every other relationship. Why?
You have to.
Okay. And there's the new title of our show, The Trouble with Trauma. And we're going to start right off the bat simply by saying that old girl there isn't being honest. She says that women can break up with a guy and then go to the next one and be fine with it. And that's not true. Can some girls do that? Yes. Do most girls do that? No. Trauma is like an anchor around the neck. The more you have, the more it drags you down. And shout out to Pearl Davis and the Audacity Network. Getting kind of tired of hearing about it. Simply because it's not true trauma. Trauma, in layman's terms, is a life-altering, oft-times violent action that leaves its mark upon its victim. Someone died and you saw it. That's trauma. You get hit by a car. That's trauma. Your house burns down. That's trauma. You lose the job of your dreams. That's trauma. Life-altering events that often leave their marks upon their victims. Breaking up with your boyfriend is not trauma. Breaking up with your husband, now that's trauma. Especially when you've gone beyond 10 years. You spent time with this man. You helped build him, he helped build you. You've seen your ups and your downs. And unfortunately, there have been more downs than ups, therefore you're pulling out. But the question then becomes, why are you pulling out? The number one reason that women file for divorce in today's modern society is irreconcilable differences. which is just a real fancy way of saying I'm sick of him. Which is what it is, but must I remind you that when you got married, especially in the older days, 10, 15, 20 years ago and beyond, you got married for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do you part. Or better for worse. Those three things. For better or for worse, in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, till death do us part. I didn't hear anything about that in those irreconcilable differences. Did you? I didn't. So it's bullcrap, is what it is. It's a mess. And no, it's. Let's get back to the video while I get my thoughts together.
Waste of time.
Like,
Okay.
what's the difference between men and women that man hold on to it so deeply and women can let go and move on?
Untrue again. Again, untrue. Although thinking about it more logically, I can kind of see where she's coming from. Although untreated trauma never goes away. And I guess that's what I was thinking about. Untreated trauma never goes away. Ever. But the reason why, and we'll see what, actually, let's see what Cooley says first, and then then I'll go from there.
Without that.
Yeah, because men love harder than women love.
Okay.
So it's very simple. Men, our love is more genuine, I would say, because we don't love opportunistically. We don't love you for the things that you could do for us. We love you for you, right? Okay. So since we love you for you, it's more genuine, it's more natural, it's more pure. I'm not saying all women do have the capability of loving a man pure, but that's going to be if she's in a good relationship with God. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Then she could truly love a man pure, where you wouldn't have divorced your husband because he was inadequate in some ways. You would have been with him till death do us part, the rich or poor. But the reason why you weren't with him and you divorced him because he was inadequate, because you didn't have a good relationship with God. Because when you have a good relationship with God, you have a higher moral ground. Listen, when you have a good relationship with God, you are not acting within your nature. Mm-hmm. You are acting within a good moral, a higher moral ground. Within your nature is hypergamy, meaning that you want the best man that you can get. You don't want to date across, you want to date above. That's in all women's nature. So that means that you don't want to settle, right? So you are in a relationship with a man that he was starting to maybe lack a little bit, or maybe not even a lack. He just was stagnant and you were on the incline, you were going up, and you were surpassing him. So then that means that you couldn't really admire him anymore. You were looking down at him. So you were in your hypergamous nature. So since you were looking down at him, you said, hey, I could do better. But if you had a good relationship with God, then you wouldn't be acting in your nature. You would say, hey, I'm up here. You wouldn't be looking down. You would say, yeah, I'm doing better, but let me stick by my man, because this is a marriage. This is until death do us part, the rich or poor, through sick or in good health. So I'm going to stay with him, and I'm going to instill the nurturing and good traits into my man, the things that I've been doing, and cheerlead this man on, and maybe he will progress. Mm-hmm. You would give it.
Firstly, I want to apologize. The video quality is not very good in this. There's a lot of stuttering, a lot of video frame drops, and I apologize for that. It's playing as I see it. You see it. I apologize for that. But let's break down what he's talking about. I don't disagree with him at all. The only thing I would add is that this is true about morals whether you believe in God or not. If you believe in something greater than yourself, be it a sky father, be it um, any one of the deities that people like to pray and worship to, that sort of thing, if you believe in that, then you do believe that you're going to love each other for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do you part. You're going to believe that. And you're going to strive to make that work. You're going to see that there's more better days or more good days than bad days. And I don't know how I could say that any more simply than I already have. Even if you don't believe in any God at all, if you are an atheist, if you believe in something being a part of something greater than yourself, then you're going to have that more of a upright moral standing. These modern day vows that people take, these nuptials, they don't talk about for better or for worse. Or if they do, they got their fingers crossed behind their backs because they sure as heck don't believe it. And that ties into the trauma argument very nicely because as Cooley has said, men love idealistically. We have a picture in our minds of what our ideal mate will look like. We have etched in our brains through the teachings of our mother and father, for those who are blessed with a mother and father growing up, but you have an idea in your head of what your woman will look like. And that's why, for a lot of guys, they want someone like their mother. Not in the sense that they want to be mothered on, but they've seen what their mother does. And they appreciate what their mother does. So the next woman that comes into their lives are going to emulate what their mother does. My mother, when she was alive, was the glue that held our family together. And she worked. She worked. My father worked. And we had pretty good lives. Were they as good as some? No. No, they weren't. But they were better than others. So, my mother basically held our family together. And I know this is true because the day she died, my family fell apart. And that's no slight on my father, because my father did the best he could do with the tools he was given, but he was lost. As I've stated on a previous video, that was the only time in my life I've ever seen my father cry. He sat at the table in my mother's seat in the dining room and cried for a good 5 minutes. Never saw him cry before that. Never saw him cry after that till the day he died. And as much as I wanted to be my father, I wanted to marry someone like my mother. And I think I did. She's honest. She's caring. She's nurturing. And it's funny because when I met her and we talked about kids, she was saying, I don't think I want to have kids. And she was like that right up to the time when she told me she fell pregnant. Then I watched her become a doting mother to two beautiful children. And I said all that to say this. Men love opportunity. No, they love pretty much unconditionally. Because men have so few requirements to being their spouse. We don't have a lot. We have pretty much fit, feminine, and friendly, and you don't need all three. 2 out of 3 will get you in, and 1 out of 3, especially if you're fit, will definitely give you consideration. After that, when we get to know the person, that's when we find out about other things about their personalities and deeper things that make them work, that either make them more compatible or less compatible. And we make a decision on whether it's a keeper or a hit it and quit candidate and move accordingly. Women, especially those who don't heal trauma, bring it around with them into the next relationship. And each time something goes wrong, if in layman's terms and for the purposes of this conversation, trauma are things that go wrong. And normally they're pretty darn bad. But rather than take some time, address the trauma, and heal from it, they go right into the next one. And then that goes wrong. They get out of that one. And they go right into the next one. And that goes wrong. And you see, the problem is that the underlying trauma never gets addressed, let alone healed. It doesn't get addressed. How can you fix something when you aren't even aware that there's a problem with it? It's like we say in the family in regards to our progress. We can't grow if we don't know. Same thing for relationships. I hate this because I just saw the name of the song yesterday, but I remember the song. As far as I know, nothing's wrong till I hear it from you. And that's the way we look at relationships in modern times. It's good right up to the time where it's bad. And then, oh man, it's bad. And by that time, it's too late to save it. Let's get back to it.
Bit more time, or even if it takes a lifetime, you would still stick by your man because that's a marriage, right? But men, we're the same way. Men, most niggas cheat. because they acted in their nature, right? But if we weren't acting in our nature and we acted in a more of a higher moral ground, then we wouldn't just be out there slinging our dick everywhere. So it's the same thing. We all have our natures that we all enact in, but that isn't a good thing to do. And I'm not saying that you're wrong for divorcing a man if he was inadequate. I'm not
I'm
saying
just
that.
saying when you say God, I was born very religious, so
But did you
God is
practice it though?
that's not it. The thing is, I've been with him for 16 years, and what made me marry him was I didn't want to marry him because I knew something was off.
So why you mad at nigga?
Yeah. Why'd you marry him? I don't care what anybody says. If if someone says they want to marry me, and I got a feeling that this won't end very well for me if I were to go that route, I'm not doing it. They can beg me till they're blue in the face. The answer will be no, sorry. And if they say it enough, I gotta go. It's been real. It's been fun. But I gotta go now. I'm done. That's simple. Let's get back to it.
Huh? I knew
You
something
didn't
was
want to
off,
marry him.
but women, we love the illusion of what a man could be.
So you got
You understand?
He
We
raised you
know
up.
that we could
Okay.
see a
So
man
you
and
saw
be like, I see
potential.
You
you,
saw
but
potential,
But you
fell in
didn't
love with
see
him.
the
You
so
found
reality.
out
you
potential.
keep going and going and going
You
and
see
going
the
and going
potential,
and
so
but you
going.
so
ignore the
so then that
reality.
proves my point
Yeah.
even
You
further.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it gets to the point where it's like, okay, I got to the point where I finally gave in and married you because you've been asking me to marry you because you said that this would be it, but you proved me wrong.
Yeah, so then that
What
gets
does
to my
God have
point.
to do
Yeah,
with
that gets
that?
to my point even further. That proves my point even.
Before we go that route, she said that he said that this is it, and then then he proved her wrong. How? Now I understand completely what my wife talks about when she talks about lies of omission, because she's leaving out valuable bits of information that could and probably would sway opinion.
Further.
That's not
You
your God.
were
But
you
you
were no,
had
stop
to-
stop real quick. That proves my point even further. You were acting in your nature, meaning that looking for potential, because that's what women look for when they say, "Oh, I want a man to be ambitious. I want a man with money." No, you want a man with potential to create a good future for you. That's what you really look for, because at the end of that is the pot of gold, is a good future, right? So since you were already acting within your nature and it didn't start off, this is what I'm saying. If it's not starting off in good soil, ain't nothing good gonna grow from it.
You right
True.
on that.
So I'm saying that if you were not in the beginning of the talking phase, if you are, you wouldn't even have spoke to that man, because you wouldn't have, you would have been out of your nature and not in your hypergamous nature. You would have been looking for good moral character. Right? So then that man that's lacking, well, you know that you don't really have good moral character, because if you don't want to do better for yourself, then, you know, why you didn't have discernment is what I'm saying. Discernment is the ability to have good judgment. So if you were in walking with God and walking within some type of religious backing, then you would have been able to make a more discerned decision. That's all I'm saying. That's in the beginning and throughout the relationship. That's what I mean. But
Again, I find no fault in his logic. This all comes and it ties into trauma very nicely, simply because, again, you don't. What was I going to say? Trauma is like a festering wound. You don't treat it quickly, it will grow and it will consume you to the point where you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's all doom and gloom. And that's because some years ago, somebody did you wrong, you got hurt by it, and you never corrected it. You never addressed it. You never acknowledged the pain, and you did nothing to get past it. You went on to the next one because in your mind, the next one would be better. But it can't be better because you got that reminder in the back of your mind. And you're going to look for it. And when you look for things, you normally find them. I'll say that again. When you look for things, you tend to find them. Which is another way of saying, when you're a hammer, everything becomes a nail. Something looks wrong in your mind, you're looking for problems, you're going to find them. Let's listen to a little bit more of it.
Thank you for sharing. Where were we? What was it? It was the compliment career. Good stuff. Get some more. You had something. I'll let you go. Sorry.
No, you said exactly what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay, cool.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
Side note. This one in the burgundy, she's a mess and a half. She is a hood rat in training.
Oh wait, you had a question. I think we're on your question.
You answered it.
Oh, I didn't answer your question. You got another one or no?
No.
Let's get it on to No, she had her question.
You want your turn? Yeah, go ahead.
No, let's go with you.
Yeah, okay.
What was my question?
Do you have a question?
To be
You wrote
honest,
down
no.
some stuff.
Erica has a question.
That was me trying to remember what I was gonna say to you.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I don't have no question. I'm trying to observe and learn.
I want to go back, but go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, we can keep it in mind. Oh, you want to write it down?
Yeah, I got it in mind.
Okay. Go ahead, Erica.
It's not my question, but they wanted me to ask this. What is the secret to be with someone for many years, and should it be 50-50?
The answer to this question is subjective. No, it's objective. It varies from person to person. But there are guidelines that would help facilitate a better outcome. The first thing is never go to bed angry. Whatever's bothering you, get it out in the open and attempt to resolve it before you go to bed, because that's when things fester. That's when little bitty problems become great big ones. Another good thing is, and it was nice because something that I heard from Rollo Tomasi, shout out to Rollo and the Rational Male. It's not so much what you communicate as to that you communicate. Because let's face it, men and women communicate differently. Classic examples. Shout out to Jeff Foxworthy and Bill Engvall and those guys. Shout out to the blue collar comedy, because They put it very, very basically. Um, a guy and another guy are at the gym, and guy one turns to guy two and says, "I'm getting a divorce." And guy two says, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You better work on your abs." He then goes home. Guy two goes home, tells his wife, "Oh, guy one is getting a divorce." The wife says, "What happened?" Guy says, "I don't know. I just know they're getting a divorce." "Is everybody all right?" "I don't know. All I know is they're getting a divorce." "What about the kids? What about this?" And she goes to all these nuanced things. And the guy keeps saying, "All I know is that they're getting a divorce." And that's a microcosm to how we communicate. Um, Men are direct. When it comes to communication, men are overt. We'll tell you what it is, how it is, when it is, where it is, and why it is, and with who it is. We'll give you the facts. In this instance, guy one is getting a divorce. That's what was important. So that's what guy two took away from it. Everything else is is candy. It's all gravy. So when the woman asks about details, he doesn't know the details because he doesn't care about the details. They're not germane to the conversation. The conversation simply was and is guy one is getting a divorce from guy two. Oh, guy one is getting a divorce, not from guy two. But he's divorcing his wife. That's what was communicated, so that's what he took from it. He didn't ask what happened, how it happened, when did it happen, where did it happen, who did it happen with, why did it happen. He didn't ask any of those questions because they weren't important to him. All he knew was that they're getting a divorce, and that's it. Women, on the other hand, are coverts when it comes to communication. Hence the popular term womenese. They talk in circles for the most part. Do they all talk? Again and again, I don't like saying this simply because it shouldn't need to be said. But all women don't talk like this. This isn't a blanket statement. It simply is a majority of females. Again, do all females talk this way? No. Some of them talk like guys. But for the most part, women tend to talk like women. And that is, they want details, they want nuance. What's the context? We don't worry about things like context. The context is this is this. We're not concerned with the who, the what, the where, the how, the when, and the why. Now, that information could color the outcome in a different light. It could help you move in a different direction once you know them. But for the most part, guys don't need to know them. Guys are basic. Guys are if-then statements for all you computer nerds out there. Geek speak again. If you don't want a divorce, don't do the things that will facilitate a divorce. That's how guys think. Or if you have an affair, don't get caught. If you don't want to go to jail, don't run afoul of the law. Things like that. And again, circling back to the trauma portion, it's a weight. It's a weight around someone's neck, and without acknowledgement and ultimately um, resolution of the problem, it's going to remain a problem and get worse. Now, this woman here, Erica, asked about marriage. What to do to keep it, and are they 50-50? We've already discussed about how to keep it, and that was some of the finer points that we had, some of the broad points, I should say. And do I think it's 50-50? No. No, I don't. Because women get two concepts woefully, painfully incorrect. A partner and a spouse. A partner implies 50-50. They are equals for the most part. Now you can go into things like people having like senior partners and junior partners and this, that, and the other thing. But those are specialized niches for specialized situations. For the purposes of this conversation, two partners are equals. They both have half a stake in the business endeavor. A spouse indicates a hierarchy, a pecking order. A leader and a subordinate. Now, a subordinate can and often is solicited for their ideas on a certain situation. I want to. I don't know what to have for dinner. What do you feel like having? I feel like this, that, and the other thing. Okay, let's get it. That is a spousal dynamic. The husband asks the wife, "What do you want for dinner?" The wife says, "I don't know. I want Chinese." And I say that because we had some yummy Chinese tonight. Shout out to China Fun. And the husband says, "Okay, that sounds good. Let's roll with it." He solicited advice, and he used that advice to influence his decision. Does it always move that way? No, it doesn't always move that way. But um, It is what it is. And I don't know what else to tell you. Let's watch a little bit more.
Who wanted you to ask that? Your friends?
Yes.
Oh. Hey, Eddie got friends. We're gonna answer this question. What is the secret to what?
To be with someone for many years, and should it be 50-50?
Well, I think we kind of just spoke about the secret to being with someone for many years. I mean, one of those secrets is we can't balance ourselves. We're incapable of balancing ourselves. No matter how hard we try, we just can't do it. So if you want something to last forever, you have to put God first in your relationship. So that's just it. I know it sounds like chat. Y'all may be like, "Oh, this nigga preaching again, bro. Why you always talking about God in it?"
No, but it's
I'm
true.
just speaking
It's
facts.
true.
We as a nation, we as a people, we as individuals, we are incapable of balancing ourselves.
That's true. That's very true. Let's get back to it. That is very, very true.
And in a relationship, you need a balance, right? If is things gonna look in society right now, it's too left leaning. Too left leaning. You got the whole, the alphabet community. You got people transforming and stuff, and you got people believing in the hypocrisy of saying, "Oh yeah, I'm a donkey." Okay, you are a donkey. Cool, man. Let's call you donkey. You got people just going along with it. So the society, the balance is off, and
And you got to ask yourself, why is it the way it is? It's because people in general want to follow the path of least resistance. You don't get much pushback if you say yes. So when someone says, "I identify as this," and you go, "Okay," there's no pushback. So you go for it. And before long, the unnatural becomes the norm. Let's get back.
you got the conservatives. They're trying, but they can't balance it. We're incapable of balancing it ourselves. So,
And that's where we're going to have a major point of contention. Conservatives aren't trying. Say what you want. They're not trying. Because they're trying to shout people down. You want to know how I feel about the trans community and identifying and this, that, and the other thing? Do I like it? No. But it doesn't affect me. So I'm indifferent to it. You stay over there, I stay over here, and everybody's fine. I can love you from a distance. I can wish you nothing but the best from a distance. And I act that way in life. There are people out there who I truly admire, I respect, I even love, but they can't be in my life. So, you do you over there. I do me over here. Everybody's fine. But these conservatives have tried. No, they haven't, because if they have tried, they've learned to meet in the middle. And this is why I consider myself a centrist. Because there are things that are liberal that I like. There are things that are conservative that I like. There are things that are liberal that I don't like. And there are things that are conservative that I don't like. So I play the middle. And for those who say, you're going to have to choose sides, when that day comes, okay. But until that day comes, don't ask me. This way you don't get your feelings hurt. Let's get back.
So we need to bring God and order into it to give it a balance, because people will just be believing in anything and speaking nonsense. That answers that part of it. What was the other part? 50-50?
50-50, yeah.
Should a relationship be 50-50? I I would say that nothing is truly ever 50-50 if we're speaking about it, because that's 50-50 in all aspects. If an intruder breaks in, okay, baby, you got it this time. Okay, baby, I got it the next time. Yeah, I want it 50-50 anyway. So since y'all don't want it, since a woman doesn't want it 50-50. Yeah, since a woman doesn't want it 50-50, in most cases, 9.999 out of 10 times, it ain't really gonna work, because some way the woman will grow resentment, unless because it really ain't ever 50-50. But let's just say both people working, that could work. I know it can work. I've seen it work. But those are people that have a higher moral ground, and they got rid of their nature and they instill God. They follow God. They don't follow their nature. So if they're following God, then yeah, you could do the 50-50 thing, because you're not gonna, the woman isn't gonna be looking down at her man, because she's not gonna be looking for a man that can do better. And then the man is not really gonna be, so, just obsessed with beauty and having an eye for other women. He's gonna really love and cherish his girl. So it can work if you instill God and then get rid of the nature. But if you don't instill God and you have you moving in your nature, it isn't gonna work, because we can't balance ourselves.
I gotta agree. And again, you don't have to believe in God. If you aspire to a higher power, if you aspire to believing in something greater than yourself, you're going to have those morals built in. So you don't necessarily have to be religious. It helps, because that gives you a known structure, but you don't necessarily have to have it. A little bit more, and we'll wrap it up.
Good question. Anything else, Erica?
No.
What about you, Millie? Millie Rock?
I have two questions.
Sure.
Why do men get intimidated by women that got their shit together?
Thank you.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Every woman that you'll ever see come on a podcast will inevitably ask that question. Why are men intimidated by a strong, independent woman? And before we let Cooley answer that question, let's break it down for a minute. When you say intimidation, what do you mean? We're going to look up intimidation just to get a proper framework for what it is. Intimidation. Uh, Intimidation. Okay. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, and let's call it up real quick. Uh, the action of intimidating someone. Oh, no, that's not the right one. It is to make timid or fearful, frightened, especially to compel or deter, or as if by threats. That's intimidation. Intimidation, in layman's terms, is to try to coerce or force someone out of one way of thinking and into another. That is, by very definition, intimidation. So, men are, according to this woman, men are feeling inferior or made to feel less than a strong, independent woman. Not happening. Not here. Not now. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. Men are not intimidated, especially when it comes to a woman's earning potentials. And that's simply in itself. That's simply because I ain't getting none. You're not going to take care of me. So why do I care? Women need to understand that. And they don't, which is very, very telling. Let's get back to it.
Intimidated. Why do men get intimidated? That question assumes that men are intimidated by a woman that has their shit together. So, since that's a false assumption, right? And the reason why it's a false assumption is because women make the fatal mistake of thinking that attraction is symmetrical. It's asymmetrical, meaning that what you are attracted to in a man, the man is attracted to those same characteristic traits back in you.
Bingo. It all comes down to what you're looking for in a mate. And it's asymmetrical, which is another fancy way of saying it's the opposite. What a woman wants is normally the opposite of what a man wants. And what a man wants is the opposite of what a woman wants. We've said it on this podcast many, many times. We've said it, we'll say it again. Men like fit, feminine, and friendly. That's what men like. That's what they look for. Someone who's pleasing to the eye and won't give them a headache. What do women want? You gotta be tall, you gotta be attractive, you gotta have money, you gotta have prestige, you gotta have clout, you gotta have status. You gotta have so many things. And you notice that nothing that I said that a man wants overlaps with what a woman wants. They're the exact opposite. Women want a man who can please them. Men want women who aren't ran through. Again, there's no overlap. There's nothing even remotely similar in those two terms. And that's because what men want is vastly different than for what women want. Let's finish up.
So that's like saying, so let's make it a good example. I take high value in the way I dress and the way I take care of my beauty fashion. Okay. I want to make sure I'm always looking nice. And you know what? I want to make sure I'm dressing and looking cuter than you. Would you feel intimidated by that?
No.
Exactly. You know why you wouldn't feel intimidated? Because you don't look for a man being more beautiful than you are. And men, we don't look for a woman that's out there making more money than us.
Or more to the point, we don't care. Just like you don't care. Myron from Fresh and Fit, shout out to the guys over Fresh and Fit. always likes to use as an example. Let's just say I tell you I got this immaculate Jordan collection. And I like dressing a certain way. How does it make you feel? And the woman's like, whatever. I don't care. And he says, exactly. That's how we feel. It's a non-starter. Nobody cares. So like when Coolio says, Cooley says, he likes to look good and he likes to look fly even better than you. Do you feel intimidated? Millie said no. He said, of course. Because it doesn't mean anything to you. It means less than nothing to you.
So we're not gonna feel intimidated by it. We are incapable of feeling intimidated by it. Yeah, so the same way that you want to feel intimidated by a man dressing beautiful and all of this, more beautiful than you, the same way we're not gonna feel intimidated about a woman, working a lot, just pursuing her career.
So, like, to add to that, so how many of you ladies would financially take care of a man forever? Like him be the stay-at-home dad and you working full-time, paying all the bills.
You notice the girl on the left? No. She shook her head straight away. No. Are we going to hear some cat? You betcha.
I don't know.
I'm too tired.
And bringing home the bacon. Would any of you ladies do that?
Nope.
I
do it.
I did that for many years.
Okay, but it wasn't by choice though. Like, I mean, you had to because you had no choice.
And not even that. Let's give them a benefit of the doubt. Let's say they chose to do that. How long do they do that for? That's the better question. Men are built to carry that load. Women are not. Because, as I said before, shout out to the late great Heavy D and the boys. Got nothing but love for you. What's yours is mine. What's mine is mine. Mine can't be mine if I'm spending it on you, which is one of the most selfish and irresponsible things someone could ever say to somebody else. And although women won't say it, they show it. The normal amount of time that a woman will take for a man to get his stuff together before deciding to leave is 3 to 6 months. So if your plan to get back on your feet takes longer than 6 months and you're with a girl, unless she's special, kiss it goodbye. See ya. Wouldn't want to be you.
So, like, if you had the opportunity to take care of your man financially forever during a relationship, and him stay at home and cook, clean, and take care of the kids, would you ladies do it?
No.
And that's why men don't give a fuck about your money.
No.
Because you guys wouldn't take care of us financially.
No.
Like,
That's not true.
no. Like you would.
I told you. I called it. I told you. Cap, the girl in the burgundy.
And do it long term, forever.
No, that's not true.
Not forever.
No.
No, forever.
To be honest,
Not for like 3 months. Not for like.
If a woman did it, then she got rid of her nature and is still God. If she didn't instill God and didn't get rid of her nature, she ain't do
We're
it.
talking about forever, not 3 months.
Not forever.
Not a short term. We're talking about forever. Like, he doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
So I let them go.
Reversed.
Okay, let's go.
Like, to be honest, okay, so for example, I marry a man. He's handling it, I'm handling it, whatever, regardless of what. He's in a position that he can't do no more, and he did.
No, we're not talking about that. He chose not to work. Period. Like nothing physically. There's nothing.
So he decided to be a female and not be a man and tell me to Selena.
Okay, you decided to be a man and to have masculine energy. So you ain't. You see what I'm saying?
I didn't decide to do nothing.
Look, listen. There's physically nothing wrong with him. He just doesn't want to work. He wants to stay at home, take care of the kids, cook, clean, while you work and pay all the bills. Would you do that forever?
No woman is doing it.
No, because I never even taught my son to be that way.
So that's
Exactly. After all that fluffing and hemming and hawing, you finally got the truth out of you. It's like pulling teeth. But the truth actually came out. You wouldn't do it. And you wouldn't do it because of what I said earlier. You can't have what's yours for your rainy day if you're spending it on him. And that's what it boils down to. I hate to be the one to say it, but it needs to be said. That whole what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine, that whole mantra is predicated on a lie. You can't have your money for a rainy day if you're spending it on him. But you expect him to have his money for a rainy day to take care of and take care of you. Make it make sense. The math isn't mathing. This video is 3 minutes and 3 hours, 25 minutes and some seconds. This one, I would definitely advise people watch. There are 5 Latinas on the panel, along with E, the co-host, and Coolio. Why do I keep saying that? Cooley. And it's worth listening to. It's entertaining, it's informative, and it'll teach you something if you let it. And with that, we're coming to the end of Tell It Like It Is. Thank you, one and all, for allowing me to come into your homes and kick it with you. We operate in the Power of 5 here at the Jazzy Groove Rainy Day Podcast family. If you like what we do, kick it. At the very least, hit the like button. And, in closing, this is OBJ, your humble, highly favored, and most gracious host, telling you all to stay safe. Be careful out there. We out.